Hey guys, so I am back with the finale of Life's Surprises. So, on with part 3. At the end of the day, Nora goes over the highlights of her day. However, she was still quite disturbed over her science classmates and the teacher's sudden decision to cancel the first day of class. Nora had never had a class cancelled before. The experience was so random, she doesn't even remember what her instructor's face looked like. The following day, Nora's back at her science class, except it's different. She hardly recognizes any student, even the instructor seems different. She begins to wonder if she is in the correct classroom. The teacher begins his instruction as if nothing had happened. His name is Wales. Milo Wales. That's right, Milo, the young man whom Nora had run into the preceding year and was so kind to her, will now be instructing her for half a year. Needless to say, she is blessed. She hadn't paid any attention to him. She felt, though, that he was strangely familiar. Maybe it's because since it's the first official day, he wants to leave a good impression in his new classes. Compared to yesterday, the man's an absolute beau. During the course of the semester, Nora learned a lot. She became more aware of how science unfortunately can't progress the way it should because politics place lots of restrictions. In music, she became quite an expert and finally dared to perform in public. She listened better, and music didn't feel so daunting from a theoretical perspective. In addition, Miss Hike's skill level can inspire even the most apathetic of individuals. She emphasized that people shouldn't fear microphones, for they allow one to listen to oneself from a different point of view. Mr. Wales turned out to be a highly influential figure himself. Nora has always had internal struggles, and he could see through that just like on their first encounter. One day he asked Nora if they could have a chat. She accepted. Mr. Wales was straightforward. He asked her about herself. Every time he sensed Nora wasn't painting the whole picture, he quietly stood, but without warning stopped her and demanded more details. Nora wasn't uncomfortable, but she found it odd that this particular man seemed like a personal encyclopedia. Nora admitted being emotionally unstable. She may display joy, but deep down inside, she's crumbling. She had spoken up before, but she has succeeded at becoming more puzzled. Mr. Wales, though a youngster himself, detected something in Nora he had never felt before. That explains his interest in discovering what's keeping Nora from unleashing her full potential. It will be a long, long trip. Months appear to have literally flown by. It's the end of the fourth one. This is when things become hectic. Science demands projects after projects, music composition after composition. Like always, all of these serve as preparation for the biggest exam of them all. This is the point when Nora contemplates being suicidal. She knows, though, that these are just little obstacles thrown by life to keep her in mental shape. So, in conclusion, little by little, the more I read it, the more that I seemed to have been getting in the mood of what I was doing years ago, but not quite. I honestly don't even remember if these characters were supposed to be completely imagined or if I was basing them off people I know. Nora, of course, if you have been keeping up with my stuff since day one here on the channel, she represents a good amount of what or who I used to be as a person, but at the same time, I also integrated the struggles of the people who I was tight with back in 2013. So any story that my best friend told me, any story that anybody else who I was close to in school told me, I sort of implemented it in my story and into just one character. But at the same time, I just don't know what my goal was with this. I think it was about how a person who struggles with being self motivated ends up finding the right influences and the right exposure to things that appeal to her to thus build up in her motivation and then just exploit her potential pretty much. Something like that. But I am discussing this nearly 4 years later. I have matured a lot, both as a person and as an author. So if I were to write something today, it would sound nothing like that. So I guess my present modern day mind and opinion is interfering with what I was writing during this time. So, but yeah, you guys, I enjoyed reading my little thing, my little story. What did you guys think? Do any of you out there write? Did you used to write? What did your writing sound like? What did you like to discuss? And even if you are not a writer, but you like to be involved in discussions, what are your favorite things to discuss? Let me know. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I shall return maybe later today or tomorrow.